Today's video, we're going to be talking about Chelsea and all the latest Chelsea news. They completed a signing of a hybrid player in Veiga. They're looking at Ivan Toney, Ostenham, Nico Williams, wingers. They're not going to get a goalkeeper. We're going to talk about all the latest Chelsea news, and I'm going to give you my thoughts as a neutral, as a Manchester United fan, because Chelsea are signing some brilliant players. They've signed some absolutely incredible youngsters. But the problem I have with Chelsea is these youngsters are brilliant signings, but you're almost getting too many of them that you can't, develop them all at once, and then you're eating up the budget towards experienced players. The Manchester City recruitment people in an interview said when they recruit for Man City, they need a mixture of, superstar talents that they can develop, players that are young but doing well and about to enter their prime, players in their prime and experienced players. And I think Chelsea are directing too much energy towards superstar talents, but I've done research on their new hybrid player. I've spoken to somebody that has watched the player a lot, and I actually think that this could be one of Chelsea's smartest appointments. Now, I've done a few videos on Chelsea. I'm very familiar with Esteval, and Anselmino. They're two players that Chelsea signed up I'm super familiar with. I mean, I think Esteval is just another level of talent. I think Anselmino's got good potential. Other players they brought in look great. Kendry Pires looks great. Kellyman's got good potential. But this could be a very smart one. I'd say Esteval has probably got the highest ceiling out of all the players they've signed. But in terms of smartness, this guy could be very good when you look at what Enzo Maresca wants to do and the kind of player he is. So Chelsea did sign Renato Veiga from FC Basel. He's a left-footed, versatile defender that can play in midfield. And it was around 14 million euros. No sell-on clause, and he will undergo medical. He's a bit more experienced than some of the other signings they've had, but what you've got in this guy, and I'm going to talk about Ivan Toney, I'm going to talk about Nico Williams and other news in a second, is someone that could play left-back, centre-back, DM, centre-mid, attacking midfield. You look at Brighton, they've got their Pascal Gross, key player for them. You look at Atletico Madrid, they've got their Llorente. Bayern Munich had their Kimmich, someone that can play centre-back if you need to, full-back if you need to, and in midfield. Now, he predominantly has played as a DM, but it's in that his speciality could be more of a left centre-back that could step out into midfield, do elements of what John Stones does, do elements of what Ake and Guardiola do, and a very technical player if he reaches his potential. He's not the ready-made product yet, but Enzo Maresca, and if you think of the style of play he wants to play, it could be a good signing. Now, according to Ornstein, he's going to be an inverted fullback and go into midfield. Considering he can play in midfield and fullback, that makes sense. And Romano also says they see him playing left-back, but also as centre-back and midfield. So one thing about Enzo Maresca is he likes one of his fullbacks to invert into midfield and his other fullback to tuck in as the third centre-back. With Veiga, he can tuck in and be the third left-sided centre-back, or he can invert into midfield, which I think gives Chelsea really good options. But what else are Chelsea planning to do this window? Who else are Chelsea looking at? Well, they're looking at a right-footed winger now. They kept looking at left-footed wingers, and Elisa, they're looking at a right-footed winger now, which makes sense. Now, I think Esteval has elite level potential, but maybe with the physicality of the Premier League, it could take time for him to come through. Pires is a good player. Angelo's a good player. They've obviously sold Amari Hutchinson. Cole Palmer can play on the right. Madueke, I think, is actually a pretty good player, and I think he's going to have a good season next year. And Kuku could almost fill in there. I do think that Chelsea probably need a winger. Now, the best winger on the market for Chelsea is Nico Williams, and we're going to talk about him in a second, but there's wages. I think Pedro Neto is a very good player, but he's injury-prone. Elise is gone. There's Bakayoko of PSV, but very similar to Noni Madueke. There's Sule of Juventus that could be available for a good price as well. There are some really good options out there on the wing market. However, Chelsea believe Samu Amoridon could be a good opportunity on the market with lots of potential if Atletico Madrid change the position and open the door to the sale. Chelsea signing a striker isn't even guaranteed. It could depend on how Nkunku performs in pre-season. Now, interestingly, I think Chelsea have been looking at this guy from Atletico Madrid for a while. Now, interestingly, he is a striker, not a winger, and Chelsea were looking at him and John Duran potentially for the striker position. Someone that is a little bit unexperienced, but physically the profile is very different to Jackson. Jackson and Kuku are very good off the ball, dropping deep, but potentially they want more of a physical player, which is why they may be looking at them. Now, Chelsea fans, let me know your opinion down below. Do you want a striker? Do you want a winger? Or do you think you need both? Now, I do think Jackson is a good player. He just likes clinical in front of goal, and I think Nkunku is one of the best facilitators in the game. And I think had you got Elise and Nkunku, that link up would have been unbelievable. But I do think Nkunku, if he can stay fit there, is a fantastic player there. And I think his moments he's had for Chelsea, he is a brilliant player. And I do think potentially you could get through next season with Nkunku and Jackson if they can stay fit. potentially you need someone that's a little bit better than Mudryk and Sterling to push them because they've not really hit the level that you've potentially wanted. So I think that potentially if the right striker isn't there for Chelsea, they should prioritise a winger over striker. And I think the Chelsea got Gyökeres, Osimhen, Ivan Toney. Osimhen, obviously, best option out there. I think Ivan Toney could be available for a cup prize with 1 year left on his contract. Could be a really good option. Premier League proven experience, can do the job off the ball and also get the goals in the Premier League. I think there's some really good options out there in the market for Chelsea. If they're out budget, maybe they look at wingers. So who are Chelsea looking at in regards to sort of midfielders, attackers and stuff? They've had more talks with this Samuel Morion guy, but it doesn't look like Atletico Madrid are going to sell him for a reasonable fee. And considering I don't know a lot about the player, he looks like a good player, but I don't think he's worth breaking the bank for. You might as well save your money and get the striker you want next season if you can't afford the striker you want this season. They've also looked at Osimhen. Chelsea do like him, but apparently his salary could be high. But I think, again, he'd be a brilliant signing for Chelsea. They're also not looking at a goalkeeper, according to Romano. But these are Chelsea's two options up front. I think Osimhen, if you've got the funds, go all out. If you don't, I'd go for Ivan Toney. You can see Ivan Toney can do a job in the graveyard shift. He can do elements of what Nkunku and Nicholas Jackson can do off the ball, but he is a clinical goal scorer, which I think Nicholas Jackson is very good his all-round game, but sometimes in front of goal, when he's got a sitter, he doesn't put it away. And I think if you want to win titles, you need someone a bit more clinical. So if I am Chelsea, I'm looking at one of these two strikers rather than a Moradon. I do think Jean Duran is a really, really good player, though. I know I've really been impressed when I've watched him, but again, it's not worth breaking the bank for. And I think that deal is off. So obviously, they've also been linked to Nico Williams as well. And the news is that Chelsea are big fans of Nico Williams. They'll make an approach, but again, it will depend on the wages. But Chelsea have obviously signed this hybrid guy, Veiga. I'd say they probably need Nico Williams and Ivan Toney, or Nico Williams and Osimhen to push forward. It'll be interesting to see what Chelsea do, but I believe they'll sign some experienced players shortly. But I want to talk about their new signing, Veiga. So he can play DM, centre mid, left back, centre back. He's 6'3". He's very fast. He's very powerful. He's very physically good. He's athletically good. One thing about him is off the ball, he can cover a lot of ground. He's very intelligent and tactically aware, so he can adapt to Maresca's system. He's quite good in the air. He's quite good aerially, and I think he would have the physicality to be fine in the Premier League. Although I always wonder if he'd be loaned out. Now, Ben Matterson, who's an expert on this player, said this: one of his best strengths is passing from deep. His switches and diagonals have that further from the back could be really good. He is a powerful dribbler. He doesn't look tidy or smooth, but shields it well and gets past a lot of players, is what he said. He said he's not sure if he's ready quite yet for the jump, but he has high potential, although he hasn't been consistent. I think going on loan at the moment could be interesting. Milan were looking at him in January for half the price. There's a lot of potential to work with. Low risk, high reward signing. Now, upon doing my research, I think defensively he's got what you want. Works hard to regain possession, presses well, uses long legs and speed to close down opponents and effectively cover large spaces with ease. He's got that large frame and long legs that make him a good dual winner tackler, and he can get stuck in and win the ball. And at 6'3", I think defensively winning back the ball, from the bit of research I've done, from the people that I'd spoke to, he looks very good. I think when you look at how Maresca wants to play and his tactical versatility, I think that it could be a very good option. You sign a lot of youngsters. He's probably not ready now, but out of all the youngsters you've signed, I actually think this guy suits probably what Maresca wants to do the most. I think Estavio's got the highest potential. I think Anselmo is just a special player. Don't know loads about Amari Kellyman, but I think, good youngster there. Payet, I don't know a lot about, but I think he's breaking records. He's probably some kind of special player. But this guy, obviously from research, looks most suited to Maresca ball. Ball progression, obviously, he's better off the ball than on the ball, but his passing ability, creating from deep diagonal balls, as Ben said, was good. His IQ to find space is good. He's got very good awareness, anticipation of the game, awareness on the ball and anticipation off the ball. He reads the game well, and he does like to switch the ball to the wings to exploit his pace. Enzo Maresca is very much like, let's let the ball do the work. That's how Enzo Maresca wants to play. He wants the ball to do the work. So if you're someone that, you pass the ball around a lot, you want Chelsea to pass the ball around a lot and then players to run into space. So as he's got the ability to find space and make those passes in possession into space, that's what Maresca will want. He also can take on opponents in advanced play 1v1. As Ben said, he's not the most best on the eye dribbler, but he is a good dribbler 1v1 because he's got that pace, got that power, and he can drive through the midfield using his physicality. He's quite a good dribbler in central areas, so his ball progression is very good. In terms of a player, versatility, strong, good at many roles. I'd assume he'd be left centre back in a back three, for Maresca, or left back inverting, or potentially DM, but I think you'll be more of a left back inverting into DM. And you've got a strong, athletic, fast player that is a good carrier in Veiga. So I do think that this looks like a good signing for Chelsea. I think you have been stockpiling on so many talented attackers, but I do think when I look at this guy and his versatility and the way he plays and the way Maresca wants to play, and upon research, I do think this hybrid signing is smart. Now, if I'm going to give you my honest opinion, if I was Chelsea, I would have not spent as much money on young players, because I think when you're top of their league, you can spend lots of money on young players, but I think you're not top of the league. I think Esteval, yeah, that's a special one. Get him. Pies, that's a special one. Get him. I would have left the rest with youngsters, and I would have gone for Calafiori, I would have gone for Nico Williams, and I would have gone for Ostenhem, but I don't think that's realistic. So maybe Ivan Toney or Chocorez. Personally, that's what I believe Chelsea need. Now, there is rumours of you looking at Nico Williams. There is rumours of you looking at Ivan Toney. I do think there'll be good options for you. I think Calafiori is Arsenal bound. But I do like the sound of this guy from the little bit of research I've done, from the people I've spoken to. I think he could be a good fit for Maresca's system. Let me know your thoughts, Chelsea fans, on your business. Let me know your thoughts on my comments. Thank you for watching. Bye.